All right, guys, before we get into it, I want to give a quick thank you to everyone who has been liking, subscribing, all the awesome feedback that I've been getting on this stuff, and hopefully we can keep getting some awesome guests on. Today, we have my buddy Parker Mitchell. He is a racer, dentist, HOA warrior, and the occasional dirtbag.
There's a lot going on in my life.
Yeah, the HOA stuff is pretty funny.
Yeah, we definitely need to talk about that.
Yeah, and we got Sick Week coming up.
We do.
Talk about that a little bit. You
Very exciting.
are redoing your entire interior of your car.
Yes.
Which is a great idea to just tear it all out and redo it all right before a big event.
You sound like you know from experience.
Yeah, like one time I did that, and for some reason then like all the wiring was screwed up, and I'm like, of course.
Why would the wiring be screwed up? Yeah.
Yeah,
course.
exactly.
Yep.
So where do we want to start? On the dentistry, on the drag and drive stuff? I just had Tom Bailey on, so I'm sure the drag and drive stuff has been exhausted.
Yeah, it's a hot topic right now.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I got something for you. Then we can start it off from there.
Okay.
For your collection of things over here, you now have a marble tooth.
Whoa. What tooth would this be? Is this
That is an
molar?
upper molar, but you can tell because it has 3 roots.
Goodness.
Yeah.
I feel like if you got caught with this in an airport, you would get in trouble.
It would not be good. It's pretty anatomically correct. I'm very surprised, but it's a neat piece that came when I bought my office, and I was like, you know what, this would be a good thing to have on the shelf.
Yeah, we'll add it to the shelf. I have actually somewhere. I have my my what's it called, wisdom teeth in a jar somewhere.
Do you really?
Maybe that could be added to it.
There you go.
Some nasty ass wisdom teeth from
Right.
10 years ago.
Right.
Because I had those things taken out, and it was a pretty interesting deal because I had to drive 2 hours alone to get them taken out.
Yep.
Didn't go under or anything.
Yeah.
And drive myself like 2 hours home, like aching teeth, struggling to drive.
It's tough, man. It's tough, but it's life changing for people. You know, people coming in pain, and I get to take them out of pain. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Wisdom teeth are fun.
Is it fun?
It is.
I vividly remember the guy pushing on my forehead,
Yeah.
like really hard to rip him out because they had to cut him in half.
Oh yeah.
Pull him out piece by piece.
It's all about the leverage. Like I tell people jokingly, you know, when we're on race weeks and stuff like that, they're like, "Oh, I got this tooth bothering me." I'm like, legitimately, if you give me a flathead screwdriver, I could probably get your tooth out. It's all about the leverage.
Just like put some Purell on it, try to disinfect it a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
Sure, Snap-on has some teeth pulling tools that cost $10,000.
Definitely. I'll tell you right now that my tooling does cost that much. Oh, you're a dentist? Automatically 10 times more expensive.
I was actually going to ask that because some of the tools that I see seem very, very fancy. Like we have like this Milwaukee shit, and it's like probably nothing compared to like medical equipment.
It's crazy, man. But I guess there's that level of, you're using it in medicine on somebody's body. Like, you know, the precision and everything behind it needs to be more. I mean, I went and bought, I was in a conference last weekend, and just this set of little screws that we use in the mouth, $2,000 with a driver.
For some stainless steel screws.
Stainless steel screws with a special driver. It's like crazy.
Is that pretty much all it's used, is stainless steel? Like,
No, so the implants themselves are titanium. It's a titanium alloy because titanium fuses with your bone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stainless steel does not. So what you put in stainless steel when you kind of plan on going back in to get it back out because it'll be easy to get out, versus titanium when you have to remove it, it's destructive because you're taking bone with it.
so you're the reason that titanium's so expensive.
Probably.
Dental and shoulders and
Probably.
knees and elbows, those kind of things.
Yeah. But it's cool, man. I absolutely love what I do. Like, I'm so lucky to have gotten into it.
And the surgical side of dentalry.
Yeah.
Like not just like teeth cleaning, like actually like surgical side.
Yeah, like I haven't done a filling or a crown in probably like 3 or 4 years. I pretty much only take teeth out, build up their bone, build up their gums, dental implants. Like, if a guy or someone needs all their teeth taken out, I go and I put in like 6 implants, and then attach the teeth to him the next day.
Yeah,
did it yesterday. It was incredible. Changed the kid's life. He's only in his 30s, you know, and I mean, it's a really special moment you get to have with people because they can have a completely bombed out mouth, and I can help them get to such a healthier place. And then that next day, they get to see themselves with a beautiful smile. I mean, everyone in the room cries. I cry. The assistants cry. The patient cries. It's just like you can't get that kind of feeling anywhere else.
I mean, I've seen people get pretty emotional after like a boob job. It's pretty similar.
I guess you could be. I mean, if you've got some
No,
really
I mean-
bad boobs and you.
I get that because like I'm lucky. Like I had braces when I was a kid. I dealt
Yeah.
with that for years. Like horrible teeth. Like
Yeah.
really bad deal. So like my parents thankfully were able to push me to do it and like
Yeah.
kind of force me kicking and screaming to
Right.
have braces for 5 years.
It's such a weird thing too. Everyone hates the dentist, right? But I mean, I go to the dentist every day. It's really not that bad, you know.
Yeah, I mean, definitely fills your wallet a little differently
But I
than
guess,
most.
yeah, it's definitely not cheap, and that's the worst part about my job is, you know, I would love to have a not-for-profit or just help people because I've been given this gift to help people, and that's the biggest roadblock is the money side. You know, it totally sucks.
Yeah, because I mean that could get people's mouth is often the most expensive part on their body after like dentistry, and I've heard other people talk about it. They like walk into the dentist and they're like, yeah, it's like $80,000 they said,
Yeah.
and then you go into another one and he's like 120, and then the other one's like, oh, $5,000.
Yep.
And
Yep.
what do you price shop a dentist? Like,
I know, right?
It's a scary thing to do.
It is a scary thing to do, but it's life-changing for people. You know, it's an investment in their health in the long term, and I just want to be that kind of person that I know there's a lot of people out there that struggle, but I guess that was kind of the motive behind my channel is I want to show people that your dentist is just a normal guy or gal, and they want to help you, you know, but it's getting over the initial visit and the money side of things, which can always be figured out. You know, it shouldn't hold people back.
Yeah,
Going to get it done.
to get the actual stuff because
Just
it's-
freaking go.
It's crazy. The smile changes so much on a person.
Yeah, and just the health too, you know, it's just go and talk to somebody, you know. I mean, you don't have to do anything, but just break that ice, you know.
Yeah, I get that. Well, let's talk about your HOA stuff.
Yes.
Actually, first off, does it frustrate you that Dr. Tunamal is a fake doctor? And you actually have a...
He is a doctor in my eyes because what he does on the computer, not a lot of us can do, you know, and he's the kind of guy that you want to pay for to have it done right. So I get it. He's not really a doctor. He's more of an intern or like a resident. He's a resident.
So that's actually one thing I've thought about. I'm like, what level do you have to get to before, like, even if it's some, like, BS college,
Yeah.
gives you an honorary doctorate? Like, because, you know, you hear, like, people like Neil deGrasse Tyson has, like, 30 doctorates
Yeah.
that were just given to him. Like, what level do you get to where some college is like, hey, you know,
Right. An honorary
we trust you
doctorate,
enough.
An honorary doctorate is no joke. That's a serious degree. That's
Yeah, but I
something
think,
you can get.
like, Pitbull has one. Like, the freaking rapper.
Yeah, but you can become a doctor in so many different things, like a doctorate of sociology or, you know, just the study of human behavior or teaching, right?
Yeah.
Those are all PhDs. Those are doctors.
But they give you one if they think that you've earned it, even
Yes.
if you're not, like, a practicing doctor,
Yeah.
if you're just doing
I
something.
think they got to see you as somebody who contributes enough to the world that, you know, they want to put their name behind you, kind of a thing.
Okay, so maybe if I do this long enough, I can become an honorary doctor and put
Yeah.
one up on the wall.
Yeah, you know, like a doctor of film academy or something like
Yeah,
that.
something along those lines. I wonder if any radio hosts have ever gotten one.
I'm sure they have.
Yeah, there's probably a few. So HOA.
HOA.
Breaking news, Manscaped now sells beard products. That's right, they are once again revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the Beard Hedger Pro Kit allows you to shape your signature beard look. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using code Bogetti for 20% off and free shipping. Guys, I've needed this for a while. I've read the comments. I've seen you guys talk about my beard. So Manscaped is here to help me, you, and your wife that has to look at your face all day. The titanium-coated T-blade is tough on hair but smooth on your face, leading to a single-stroke efficiency that brings satisfaction one stroke at a time. I know your beard isn't ready to impress. I've seen it. I've seen you guys before. We all need this stuff. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code Bogetti at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code Bogetti. Manscaped Beard Hedger. One stroke, one guard, 20 lengths. Now let's get back to it.
Yes, hot topic right now.
Yeah, so you moved into somewhere willingly with an HOA.
That's everyone's argument. Why would you move there? You're an idiot. Okay, here's the deal, guys. Like, I bought this house and started building it. And I didn't realize until a month before, until one of the neighbors came by and was like, hey, is that your truck? I'm like, yeah. I go, you're going to have to park it inside. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, apparently another guy had been battling. You're not allowed to park a pickup truck in the driveway in my neighborhood. You can park anything else.
So
SUVs, cars. You could park a Freedom Factory Crown Victoria in the driveway and not get in trouble.
but like
I
a
can't
Ranger.
park a $90,000 pickup truck, a Ranger, anything like that. Anything with a bed.
I can't believe your truck fit in the garage.
Oh, it fits by like 3 inches. And that's the worst part is I can't have a hitch on. It's such a
Yeah.
pain in the butt to park in the garage, that I just continually leave it outside. So obviously the neighborhood is freaking out. Like the HOA is beside themselves that I park my pickup truck outside, right? And so I'm like, I'm just going to keep rolling with this because, to be honest, I really don't care. Like, I really don't care. It's just an old neighborhood from the 80s that made this rule in the 80s. You can't park a pickup truck outside. But now, things have changed. It's one of the top 5 vehicles purchased in the world, in the world,
Yeah,
really.
it's an F-250, so it's like
It's
second,
crazy.
Kind of brother of the most best-selling vehicle
Yeah.
of the year.
Yeah, it's not like I'm parking some piece of junk. And that was actually a point that a neighbor brought up was, once we allow pickup trucks, what's going to stop someone from parking a piece of junk, smoky, cracked window, ugly pickup truck? And I said to the guy, I said, what's stopping people from doing that with their cars? Absolutely nothing.
Well,
But
how
it
many of
doesn't
those
happen.
are in a garage right now in the neighborhood? How many junk pickup trucks that suddenly will be pushed out of a garage? Like
None.
that's what
It's
like,
not the neighborhood.
Yeah,
we're
it's
in,
like
though, it's crazy. And so I started posting on social media all the backlash, and it's blown up. Like the responses are hilarious and crazy, and I wish the neighborhood could see it. And I've got about like probably 40% of the neighborhood behind me, but I need 70%.
oh, so that's a big swing of the neighborhood. And how many houses are we talking here?
190.
Okay, so I mean, roughly, what is that, like 80 houses you need?
More, yeah. And
Like
so
100 houses, I guess, somewhere around there.
yeah, a little over 100.
Yeah.
But I've met with an attorney about this, and I don't like attorneys, but this is something I really believe in.
That's
And
crazy
so
because he probably says he doesn't like dentists.
he's like, and dentists don't like attorneys, so
Well, most people don't like either.
that is true. It's a lose-lose situation for everybody.
Yeah, that's a tense meeting.
It is, we're both staring at each other, like who's gonna make the next move. And it's such a joke. Like here I am meeting with an attorney about being able to park my pickup truck in my driveway, and it's
Could you put a bed cap on it and just say, like, it's an
can't-
SUV?
You can't. My truck identifies as an SUV.
It's an SUV now. You put like some fold-up chairs in the bed of it.
Yeah. So basically, how it has to happen is I have to door knock every single house to get people behind me, and I'm like, this is just not worth my time. And there's a cap. They can fine me up to $100 a day, okay? But there's a cap, so I'm thinking about just running out the cap, and then
$100 a day, so then they could fine you for what, like probably like 150 days before.
$5,000 is the max cap. So
Okay.
if I want to park my truck in the driveway, I'm looking at a $5,000 fine.
Which realistically, if they were like, "Hey, it's $5,000 to park your car in the driveway," probably be like, maybe.
I mean, well, yeah, I know, and I
Forever.
kind of thought about it, but the money that would go to is towards the neighborhood, so it's not like it's going in some guy's pocket.
Yeah.
They're all volunteers on the board, so if I pay a $5,000 fine, and that money goes back into landscaping and making my area a better place to live in, is it really a loss?
If they do anything productive, that's the other flip side of HOAs.
Instead of
Is
just
like,
sitting on the cash.
yeah, I was reading some HOAs. It's like, oh, they paid like $1.8 million last year for lawn care, and it's like
Crazy.
all of it went to like the lawn care business of like the
Yeah.
guy that owns the HOA, like the
Well,
guy that lives there.
Yeah, another crazy point is we just had this hurricane, right, in the end of September, and a bunch of big trees got taken out. Who was there cutting down the trees? All of us guys with pickup trucks and chains and chainsaws were cleaning up the trees,
Yeah,
So, we're not a menace to society. We're just people trying to live our lives. And
yeah, that's wild that they just are so anti pickup trucks. Like,
it's just a bunch of, people who are in their 70s and 80s who have lived there for, however long. People say. One lady was making a point. She was saying, this neighborhood isn't what it used to be in the 80s. There's no more kids running around. And I'm like, well, yeah, because young families like me don't want to move here because I can't. We're so governed by these rules. You know? Open your eyes. Times have changed.
How is there going to be kids running around when everybody that lives there is from the 80s still living there and are retired?
And doesn't want to change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, you're retired and you still live here. Do you think more people are going to be running around with little kids in this neighborhood? Like, move out first. That's like the same thing with, like, there's no young teachers anymore. And it's like, yeah, but the teachers that are still working refuse to retire.
Yes.
So they're not opening the space.
Guys, it's a hilarious thing to follow. If you follow my Instagram, then you'll get a good kick out of it because I'm posting all the letters they send me. They even had a board meeting about me on Thursday night. I didn't know about. They never told me, which goes against their rules. They should have told me, but I would have loved to go and argue my case. So.
You think that they would have allowed it? Can you run for a position?
I sure can, but do I want to be a member of director of this organization that doesn't want to accept change and move forward?
Well, it's part of your growth as a political figure. You can suddenly, you start out as HOA.
Wow, a political dentist, and then, everybody's favorite.
And then suddenly, you're a commissioner. And then suddenly.
No, I plan to be, for anyone that owns a house, you need to live in the house for 2 years before you don't have to pay capital gains on the tax, on the money that you gain from your house. And so I need to live there for at least 2 years before I can start exploring options like what you have, where you're on a little bit more land and got a shop out back. This has been a beautiful home. Our friend built it for us, and we love the home. It's just, it's time for some change.
Yeah, it's tough being pushed into that position. Like, I knew when I drove through this neighborhood, there was like, my neighbor has a couple cars on jack stands and like, some stuff that's like in the weeds. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, great neighbor. Definitely a couple project cars that will probably never be done.
Yeah.
But we all have those. Like, I have a couple sitting around that will probably never have anything happen with them.
Definitely have that too. Luckily, I got a place I can keep those so I don't have to look at them.
That's true, yeah. You just make like Alec mow around them every week.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, hey, your car's still back out there. I'm like, oh, I know it's there. Please don't remind me.
I think there's a family of mice living in there now.
At least a family of mice.
Yeah, because don't you have a fox body out there?
Fox body, but now my mom's raising a family of bees out there. So now, like, it's, who knows? I might go out there and have a beehive in my car.
That would actually be a pretty good use. I think they do that for like the sea otters too. They like toss cars in the river so that they can like live in there, and it's kind of like the same thing. You donated a car for the bees.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody needs to like repurpose these cars.
The beehive.
Yeah. Well, you could have built the fox body instead of building a new edge.
I could have because it did become first actually. That fox body was a gift from some of my friends.
Yeah, you could have built a fox body, arguably the best chassis.
Arguably the best.
Compared to the new Edge, which obviously is
not a much different chassis.
Pretty similar, a little longer, a little heavier.
Yes.
And I know you bought that car thinking you got a ready to go car, and it seems like everything has been changed on it by now. I remember.
It's hard to forget.
Yeah, it was definitely a close your eyes and go drive it kind of car.
This thing is a mess. No disrespect to the guy that built it, but it needed some work from our end, and it's still a lot of work.
It seems like it's pretty done by now. Like, at least like it's all been kind of de-screwed up from the previous. Just
for perspective, for those who haven't seen it, when I first got it, the ice tank was a cooler ratchet strapped in the passenger seat, and that was the ice box.
I remember like the transmission overflow was like right next to you as well.
It was like
the car. In the car.
And I think it was like a plastic bottle.
That's scary stuff. I think because you hadn't been around like a ton of race cars when you got that at the time.
No, I hadn't.
So like you didn't realize some of the stuff that was actually like genuinely, truly screwed up. And then once you really started digging into it, I think after a couple motors that went through it, you realized how crazy some of that stuff was.
I don't look at it like that, though. Like, every obstacle I've come over and improved on the car has been such a great learning experience.
Yeah, for sure.
You just got to dive in and do it.
But could you have started with a car that was untouched?
100%.
Would it have been better, or do you think it's better to have had to learn on a car that was screwed up,
Definitely
and
learn
you
on the
kind of
car
have
that's
to
screwed up.
bring back to life.
Screwed up for sure.
Because from the ground up really is tough, and it's really tough for motivation.
It is. It is. I look at like trying to find a new edge now that I could, build the right way and fit everything into, and it's impossible to think about. Like, that's so much work.
Yeah,
So
from the
much
ground
work.
up.
I understand why there's so many of those cars out there for sale. Like you see Fox bodies and stuff that have a really beautiful cage in them, and the guys are just they're selling it because lost interest.
Yeah, they're like 90% done.
Yeah.
Just needs wiring or just needs fuel system, and they're just like, they just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, they're at a different stage in their life. They've got kids running around, and it's been wife's hounding them because it's sitting in the garage for 3 years and they haven't touched it. And it's expensive too.
Yeah, a couple things add up more than you thought they would. Suddenly, like, you thought you'd be in it for 20 grand, and suddenly you're in 50 grand.
Yeah, because coilovers have jumped from price from $500 and now they're 3 or 4 grand, and same thing with wheels and all that.
Well,
stuff.
I still run all that cheap stuff. I have $500 wheels and $500 coilovers. I saved money on that stuff.
Yeah, it's been a no budget build, I will admit.
There's definitely some stuff I look at that car and I'm like, oh, dang. Even the way that it sits, it looks very race car with the front wheels like tucked in.
I know.
Like that kind of stuff. And it definitely looks really race car. And then the repaint, the color matched wing, like all that kind of stuff, like definitely adds to that car looking really awesome now.
Yeah, if you look at it from about 10 feet, it looks good.
Really? My car, you have to be at least like 100.
Oh.
Like in the stands,
looks
great.
good, yeah.
If you just hear it, great.
Yeah.
If you're trying to look at it and enjoy the visual,
Everybody
Don't
loves the guy
recommend
that
it.
walks around your car and like points out scratches or like chip paint. You're like,
Yeah.
yes, I know that's there.
yeah, maybe you hang around Sam too much.
He's been such a good influence. Honestly, that guy's been incredible to have around.
On like paintwork and stuff like that, and like
Just-
just learning and
Learning, really, because he's the kind of guy that will watch you make a mistake, right? So I was giving him a hard time about it the other day because he'll watch you. You could be putting in your axle, right? And he'll watch you not put seal or around the end cap of your axle. No, he knows it's going to leak, but he wants you
Yeah.
to make it leak so that you learn from your mistakes. And then he makes you take it all apart and then fix it the right way. You know what I mean? So he's the kind of guy that will watch you make a mistake, tell you afterwards after something's gone wrong, and then make you take it completely apart and help you take it completely apart again to fix it the right way.
wow, that's a lot of patience there from him.
He has a lot of patience.
For a guy like that we all have finite time in this world, but for a guy like that to have the patience to watch you do something twice,
I know it.
is
And help you.
yeah, and help you is
Yeah.
insane.
But I'll ask him too, like, what do you think I should do about this? And he'll be like, well, let's take it all apart and fix it the right
Yeah,
way.
that's nuts. I mean, even the other day I was over there and Garza brought his Ranger by, and this thing is clapped out.
He loves it though.
And he's like, yeah, like help me get the paint back. And like he's over there polishing this
He was
car.
polishing
Sam was
Garza's
polishing
Ranger.
Garza's Ranger. And this thing is so beyond polishing. Like the windows are just like rubber sealed in, like, caulking glue.
What?
And like
It's like polishing a turd.
Sam's just over there happily polishing it. I'm like, I've never even asked him to help like on my Camaro,
Right.
which is like seen all the time, like out, actually doing things.
I know. It's a lot of time to invest into fixing up a car's paint too,
Yeah, that's why I never touch it. And my car has bad paint on a lot of body panels, and I'm worried that if I try to go and fix any one spot, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna hate the other
Oh
spots.
man, totally true. You're gonna be diving in on that project.
Like once you start on anything, and I need like a new bumper and probably a new hood and fenders, I'd rather
where I
just
was
like
at.
get all new stuff
Yeah.
than try to save.
That's where I was at.
The
I
junk.
put new doors on, new bumper covers, a wing, and then I was like, you know what? We just need to paint this whole car. So
Yeah, I'm surprised. Was the red what you wanted to do, or did you want to change the color, or easier to
just
not do a
repainted
color
it?
change? Yeah.
I actually, I wanted to keep it red. I wanted to, be close to a Dr. Pepper can,
That's true.
But it's actually a Cadillac color. Remember
does
that
kinda look like-
V3 I had?
Yeah,
it's
that-
the same color.
That one that was all scratched up from the woman's long ass nails on the.
Oh, on the door handle.
you could tell
yeah.
somebody had some like
Yeah,
'Cause
that
that
was
was-
fun though. That was a good little deal that we did.
Yeah, didn't you get that from like a take on a lease or
Yeah,
whatever they
Lease
call
Trader.
it? Lease Trader. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I've looked into that a couple times since I heard about it from you, and that's a cool deal to take on somebody's lease. and
Yeah,
then
I mean the
just-
guy, it works out great in your favor because you end up getting a good lease deal on something. You get the car for a couple months and then give it back.
Yeah, that V3 was nice. I'm sure it's somewhere right now really clapped out because it was already
Probably.
on the decline.
It was on the decline, but it was still a nice, clean car. I mean, it was at the point where if somebody spent some time on the paint, then it was going to be dialed.
Any leased car immediately starts to get worse and worse because like people
Definitely
don't
true.
take care of the
They don't
engine
care.
on them. They don't change the oil regularly. They
It's
don't.
true.
They don't do their service
It's
intervals
not
like
their car.
that.
They don't care.
No, they don't care. They're getting rid of it.
Yeah.
My dad used to have leased cars all the time, and I never seen somebody treat cars so bad. He didn't believe in oil changes growing up.
Really?
Didn't believe in them.
That's terrible.
He just
I
he
used to be
believed
that way.
you just add more oil.
I used to be that way. Learn the hard way.
Yeah, you learned quick. You learned on Dr. Pepper on.
Rocky Mountain Race Week.
Yeah.
In the middle of Colorado.
Yeah, where did
Way
it?
out there.
How far did it break into that?
It was halfway through the trip.
Oh, so like worst time to break.
Yeah, it's
like
my
max
first race
far,
week. Yeah, max far. Away
max
from
distance
home
from the trailer
and from home.
and from home.
Yeah. Well, I bought the car. I'd never changed the oil. It's done on race
Mm.
week. Halfway through. That's what they claim was the issue, but it really left it a head gasket. But it's still a running joke. Change your oil.
Changing your oil is definitely a good thing. I change the oil on the Camaro every 2 events.
Really?
Yeah, every 2 events, change the oil, cut the filter open, check the filter.
Yeah.
I've become good at that. I was pretty bad at that, but cutting the filter open definitely helps a lot with like knowing the life of the engine. If there's any metal in the filter,
Right.
any glimmer or glitz or anything like that, you can send it off to like somebody and get checked
Yeah.
for metal. But I just like visually at least looking.
Visual is a good way to
Yeah,
do it.
it helps a lot. So your car is almost ready for sick week.
Yeah, it's pretty much there.
235 tires,
235.
which I think will be one of the coolest classes to watch this year.
It's going to be a lot more competitive than I was expecting.
100%.
Yeah, there's a Fox body car that's like 4.7s.
I've lost a race to that car already. Actually,
Yeah, it's pretty bad to the bone.
I raced
clean.
him. I raced him in Darlington, Devin Vanderhoof,
Yes.
and I got absolutely gapped by that thing.
Well, it's a big block car.
Big block, gigantic, like 115 millimeter turbo,
Yeah, yeah.
and he just drove away from me. Like,
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how it works out. You know, I love being out there and doing that stuff. It's so fun. It'd be great to get a podium, you know, but I'm not going to base a podium based on somebody else's car breaking, you know. Like, I'm still going to go for it. I would like to have a 4-second average for Sick Week.
yeah. But with Eighth Mile, you know, you can kind of beat a big block car because they're definitely going to struggle to tame that car down a little bit on a marginal track.
True.
Where you're gonna have to kind of throw more
The
power
beams
at
at
it.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough to tame a car like that down
Yeah.
enough to run good for just an eighth mile. Like, you know, people like Rick Prospero have the big block that just second half of their eighth mile is where all of their ET is gained.
Yep.
And they just short track kind of softly.
Yeah.
You can kind of, I think
Well,
the eighth mile
that's how it is with what's his name, Kevin, right? With the white Fox body.
Devin.
Devin. Yeah. I mean, him and I have the same 60 foot. Mm-hmm. You know, so
Yeah, it's really only it's going to be about who can. It's going to be a lot of tuner battle on that deal.
for sure.
And he is unfortunately a Holly expert tuner.
It would be okay to like bring my laptop to him between runs.
Just
Is that allowed?
don't introduce yourself as the guy in like in the car in his class until like at the end of the event, and just have him help you through it.
Yeah.
Who's riding with you on that?
Zach Walker,
Nice.
who's Garrett's lead guy, you know,
Yeah.
for wiring and things like that.
So he's not riding with Garrett then?
No, I don't want to say who's riding with Garrett, but
Oh,
they're very good at tuning.
okay. Well, hopefully Maddie's ready. I would imagine it's not George then.
No, George. I can't say what George. I don't know if they're taking the Blazer.
You
or
don't have
not.
to go into any of that. I was just wondering, I guess.
No,
Yeah,
it's not George. I think George and James are driving together, and Ty and Sam, Zach and I. I think those are the groups.
I'm taking Sketchy Vert.
You're driving Sketchy?
I'm taking Sketchy Vert with me.
Oh, cool.
I'm
And
taking
what's
my
your car?
Mustang, and Sketchy's going to ride with me.
Chip's making a return for Sick Week.
Well, I was telling Tom, I was like, it needs to complete it. It died 100 miles from home last year.
Yeah,
It needs
that's frustrating.
It needs another try at it
does.
before I like. And if I don't do Sick Week with it, then it is truly a useless car.
I mean, you tried to take it to a car show and it didn't work either.
Yeah, it almost caught on fire. So if it can at least do Sick Week, then it really should just be
Sketchy's
sold.
car set up to do drag and drives or not really?
It could do drag and drives for sure, but last time he had it out, it broke the motor mounts and all the converter bolts on
I heard about that.
one hit. So
Yeah, dang.
it needs some
You
fine
break
tuning.
all your converter bolts.
I don't actually know how that's possible,
Yeah.
and especially
Use
because
some Harbor Freight bolts on this converter or something.
they weren't broken either. They were just gone.
Oh, really?
Like there wasn't like an end of the bolt in the converter.
Oh,
So
they
I don't know if
backed
they
out
just
or
backed
something?
out.
Is it 3 bolts or 6 bolt converter? 3. Okay.
That's what I have on my Camaro too.
Yeah.
I always just have
That's
3
what I had on
bolts.
my car up until recently.
Yeah, would you just put in a new Circle D?
Circle D, billet, 6 pad, bolt together converter,
Nice.
bad to the bone.
Yeah, that's what I have in my car. It's a bolt together, but it's not Circle D. It's ATF.
Cool.
But they're all pretty similar. It's just about how converters are about how truthful you are with your converter guy. Because a lot of people tell their converter guy that they're going to make all this power. Their car's going to be
lighter
this
than it
light.
is. Yeah.
They try to flex to their converter guy for some reason.
That's a good point.
And then suddenly it's like,
What's a weigh? 3,000 pounds.
it's really 35 going down track. But I was just estimating. It's just about how honest you are with them.
That is very true. Very true.
And I know you kind of fought with your converter and trans a little bit.
Mostly the trans. The converters have always been fine. Oh, except for when I bought the car, but that wasn't really my fault. Because when I first bought the car, we finished it a couple days before Rocky Mountain Race Week. Converter was broken. Okay, so we shipped the converter to Rocky Mountain Race Week, tacked in, put the new converter in, and then we took it down the track.
It's a great way to figure all that out.
Yeah, first time I'd ever pulled a transmission in my life was on Rocky Mountain Race Week. Put my
Nice.
new converter in.
Have you been eyeing a M&M 400 on that thing?
I mean, obviously that would be amazing, right? Like, who wouldn't want one of those transmissions? But I've got a solid, Power Glide. It's built to the bone. It's
Tough pill to swallow.
yeah. That's the thing. It's a tough pill to swallow.
You could legitimately build another car.
Yeah, I mean,
for
if I
that
want to
cost.
put 20, 30 grand into a transmission, is my car really a $20,000-$30,000 transmission car? I don't think so.
That's how I feel about my car.
Yeah.
I'm I'd rather almost take my whole engine and trans combo, buy a cheap Fox body, not cheap, but an already done Fox body that weighs 600 pounds less than my car,
Yeah, the good cage in it.
put everything into it, and then, ditch the heavy ass car.
Exactly.
Because there's so much more that can be done with 30 grand on my car that I don't know if transmission would be the next one.
I'll tell you what would be the bone Fox body is that McFlurry car.
That thing, I think they're vastly underestimating how great that car is going to be.
I know.
I feel like they're just kind of throwing it together.
No, they're not throwing it together.
Just kind of whatever, we got some nice parts for it, but it's going to be actually super legit.
It'll be nicer than the Blazer. It'll be as nice as Mullet, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. It'll probably be similarly as fast because of how light it'll be.
It'll be light.
Even James's car, I don't know how much you know about James's 240, but he's rolled from the 8th mile to a 720.
That's insane.
Lifting at the 8th and just letting it roll.
It's so fast.
Once you have a car that light, fast becomes so easy.
How come nobody's made a titanium tube chassis car?
I think titanium is too brittle. I think it
it
it fractures
Got it.
into a spear. But I mean, I've seen Porsche make carbon fiber roll cages.
True. Yeah, that's kind of a thing in the future, isn't it?
You 3D scan everything and then you kind of just carbon fiber it. And you can even 3D print some of that stuff now.
I know.
Just 3D print a whole carbon fiber chassis for a Fox body.
I know, it's so cool.
Until it happens in X275, then it trickles down to us poor racers.
Yeah. We get their like leftovers, their hand-me-downs.
So what other races do you have on your mind for?
I really want to do a streetcar takeover when they come down here. You know, I want to, obviously Sick Week. It's really hard with me because I own and run a business. So for me to take a week off work, I'm losing a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't make money on YouTube. It flirts with me, you know.
It's like costs you more to go to the track than it'll make you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, way more. But it doesn't matter. You know, it's just fun. Like I love it. It's so cool. You know,
You could be like a Porsche racer and really spend some money.
no, it's not me.
You go to
we
like
all have friends that do that, and it's like,
it's definitely a
dude,
different
I'm
breed.
gonna go drive my shitbox street car. When you drive your Porsche, you can only drive at the track.
So, Streetcar Takeover is like 2 weeks after Sick Week in Bradenton.
I know.
And that's why I don't take the Camaro on that, because it's Streetcar Takeover the 25th and 6th, and then TX2K March 16th.
Okay, you
So,
doing
like,
TX2K with your car?
Yeah, so like right after there's 2 events. And if you break, my Ignite jug.
Oh.
And if you break a 2J, it's not exactly easy to get parts for.
No, I thought it would be. With everyone doing it.
That's why it's not easy. Most of my parts are stock and everybody's building them.
Got it.
So they're hard to get.
Makes sense.
And I'm sure you have a spare LS you could acquire somehow.
Yes, probably. If I really pulled some strings.
So what other events then, I guess, would you want to take your car to?
Definitely Streetcar Takeover, Sick Week. I'd love to do all the Rocky Mountain Race Weeks. I just love the Dragon drives. You know, I feel like I lose a year of my life every time I do one. You know, you're just so low on sleep. You're eating gas station tornadoes all week. You know, you're just living to the max, sweaty, dirty. You know, it's just
Fumes constantly.
Fumes. Oh yeah, yeah.
I think people don't realize the fumes. Like when I first rode with Ruby,
Oh man,
I was
that
struggling
car's real bad. Yeah.
I don't know how James wasn't. I think he was. I just think like his brain doesn't work that same way or something, where like the
Maybe it runs better.
carbon monoxide wasn't getting to him.
Maybe it runs better on the high amount of carbon
That's
monoxide.
what I was wondering. I'm like looking over at him. I'm like, dude, like how are you driving? Because the
Are you
exhaust
lying?
was like right here next to your face.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think even like Shane got really sick
Really?
riding with him. Shane Brent's son.
Yep.
And then George got really sick riding in that car. I got like minorly
fine.
sick. That's what I mean. And I'm sure your car, like, there's probably some holes in the firewall here and there, little pinholes.
I've got
that
them
let
pretty
things
cleaned
in.
up now, but yeah, of course everyone's firewall isn't perfect.
Yeah, mine is definitely not perfect. Mine, when you push my brakes in, you can see my brake booster kind of like wiggle a little bit.
Ooh,
The brake, not booster, but like master cylinder, I guess.
yeah, the whole thing flexes a
Yeah,
little bit.
use a parachute. The Mustang has all stock stuff, so it works well.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does.
Even the brakes and everything on the Mustang are like completely stock.
Dude,
like, from
that's
a
what I
parts
had on
store.
my car up until a couple months ago. It was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, TBMs are the best, but you know.
Yeah, they're great, especially when you're running 8th mile, like stock stuff works
Yeah, I don't
really
need the
well.
parachute at all.
Yeah, I envy that a little bit.
A stupid mistake I did learn after getting those brakes though is on chip, like you can easily go into the burnout box to do a burnout with the stock brakes. On my car, once I switched to TVMs, all the clamping force is in the rear.
Oh, so you need line lock.
You have to have line lock. So I was trying to do a burnout like a goon.
That's frustrating. I don't have line lock on my Camaro, and
No.
I have to like really work to get that thing to do a burnout.
Really?
People are like, oh, like, do a big burnout, roll through the box, roll to like 8th mile. I'm like,
No,
guys, that thing does not have the power to do that. Like, it struggles to spin the tire.
Really?
It actually has to work for it because like I have to arm the nitrous for a burnout.
Yeah.
It will not do a burnout without
Really?
nitrous.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang.
So burnouts, I guess. High Cat.
Oh yeah, the Hellcat. God, I love that car.
That seems like a project that really escalated.
It did. It did. I have a lot of money in that car, unfortunately. Caroline keeps asking, "Where is that car? Where is that car?" You know.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't seen it in a while. What's the steps for that thing?
So TBM has it. They're developing a brake kit for the Challengers. A lot of people have been asking for it, and those front brakes are so heavy on those cars stock. I mean, the whole car is heavy, but I might be going for a world record with this soon. Can't say which one, but
Oh, well, I hope it's not drag racing.
it is.
Oh gosh. I was hoping it was like a Burnout record or something.
No, there's I wanna get the quarter mile record with it. Yeah.
Okay, that'd be pretty cool.
It would be. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be. I mean, it's got the power to do it. It's got huge Whipple blower on it, and it's a built motor and everything. So
The Dodge community is way different than like the Chevy community and like the drag racing community in a whole.
Yeah.
I feel like there's not too many Dodges that drag race.
no, it's definitely different. It's definitely. I think maybe it's just because they're so heavy, but they're really getting down there on their times now with those automatic cars.
Yeah, I've seen them do pretty well. Yeah, I guess the automatic will probably be one of the Achilles heel on that deal.
I don't know. They've been holding pretty well, pretty strong. So we'll see.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
It's a fun car. It's so loud. You know, the exhaust is straight off the back of the motor, right out underneath the doors. It's rowdy. It's a very rowdy. I mean, it makes 900 real horsepower for a Hellcat, and it's on a Holly Dominator, which is I think the first Holly Dominator car.
Huh? How do you control the transmission on that?
It's manual.
Oh, it is manual. I was thinking that for some reason that car was auto. Yeah,
Yep.
that makes sense. I was gonna say like that's probably why you're able to actually have a Holly because nobody else can because nobody
Yeah,
else can
auto
control the
cars.
trans
Yep.
unless you go to like a Turbo 400,
Right.
which would be great for
It
burnout
would
stuff.
be great. It would be great. That car does put down some mean burnouts. You know, those cars are basically built to do burnouts.
Yeah. The problem is when you have a stick shift car doing a burnout for too long, the clutch just ends up just not working anymore.
It's
Like
true.
on Neighbor,
When you're
I've seen
really
it
pushing
so
power
many
through it.
times. Just the clutch pedal is just gone.
I do have a monster clutch. I saw a monster clutch.
Yeah, I have one in my 240. I had one in my CTSV.
Dang.
They make really good.
Did you sell your
Clutches.
240?
No, I still have it.
Yeah.
I was thinking about parting it out.
But you
and
took the
selling it.
engine out of it, right?
No, it's still in it.
Oh.
It's ready to go do whatever. There's not a whole lot of going to use it that I can do.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a tough deal. Like I can go drag race every single week.
Yeah.
Drifting's not exactly the same,
Right.
and it's a extreme money and time suck compared to drag racing.
Is it really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I guess tires.
Tires and fuel and the traveling to like my buddies rent out Orlando.
Yeah.
Or up in Clearwater there's a track,
I could see it.
and it just adds up really quickly. And
Yeah.
the burnout pad at the Freedom Factory is a tough one to test on because that surface is so different.
It is.
It's so different than asphalt.
Yeah. Well, it switches, right? You know, you could be on asphalt and then concrete and switch back. I think it's kind of cool. It makes the driver drive, you know?
Yeah, it gets like slick or grippy depending on like what happens.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah, it's a cool spot though. But
That was the initial plan with the Hellcat, was to try and learn how to drift and stuff with it, but it's a drag car now.
and burnout or just drag car?
I don't know, man. Every time I take it to a Freedom Factory event and do a burnout, it's so it breaks something and it's so expensive to fix it. I don't know what to do. I'm torn.
Yeah, that's a tough one because if you don't go to a burnout contest with a car that's like this could win, it's probably a lot less exciting.
Yep.
Like that's always my thought, even with the 240. Like it's an NALS. It's not going to win a burnout contest versus a blown car.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
LSs sound horrible.
It's amazing
on the
to
rev
see
limiter.
how much the event has brought. I mean, you were at the first Cletus and Cars, seeing what the burnout contest has come into now. I mean, there's guys building professional cars to do this now.
Yeah.
Dedicated cars.
Like actual like people that were drag racers taking their same program to run a burnout car.
yeah,
And there's actually once there's money to win, that's when
that's when it starts to get serious.
that's when it gets serious. Yeah.
I always laugh when I see like the prizes for money for like drag racing and burnout contests. It draws great people, you know, but it's a scratch on the surface. It's all
Nothing.
for pride.
No, drag racing you win nothing.
It's pride.
Yeah. If like going out to TX2K, the price like the winnings haven't gone up. The entry fee has gone up a little bit and gas has gone up a little bit.
Yeah.
A good bit. So the winnings are the same.
Shrink.
They didn't follow inflation.
Right. Right.
That's like the one thing that doesn't.
Yeah.
It's definitely not ideal, but if you need the money to compete, if you need that win to compete in the next race, you're probably not going to make it to the next race.
I know, right?
And that's where Dragon Drives, me and Tom were talking about how expensive they get when you suddenly break something. Mm-hmm. How the price just immediately 10x's.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely. You got to be ready with some cash when you go on those Dragon Drive events. Be ready to buy a new transmission.
Yeah, that happened to me. I had to buy a new transmission.
On the first day?
On the first day. And it broke on the 5th day.
It was a big L of a week.
That was a rough time. And then it broke, like, in Ocala.
Yes.
So, like,
You're like
really far.
Yeah, I know, but you're still kind of in reach of being home. You're like, oh my God, this is brutal.
I didn't get home that day until, like, 4 a.m. because I had to, like, go get my truck and trailer, go back to Ocala, go back to Bradenton.
Dang.
It was a sad, long drive.
It was.
I was
So mad.
I was just like to my friends, I was like, just leave me here to die. Just go. Like, just go win. Do something cool.
Do something cool for me, guys.
Yeah. And then that's when I was like, I really should have just brought my CTSV wagon.
You should. Are you going to do that? Oh, you're doing chip.
Now I'm doing chip, but
Is it
that's
ready?
like the plan B car. I think it's ready.
Yeah.
That's what me and Tom were saying. Like, you can never truly test your car on the drive. You can drive your car a lot, but like that 1,000 miles is something you can't test for.
True.
I know you've driven your car.
I try and drive it a lot.
Yeah, I feel like you put a lot of miles on that.
Yeah, I
thing.
try to drive it like at least once a week, up to here or something like that. You know.
Yeah, because you drive it to Bradenton, which is probably like, what, 20 miles, 30
Yeah,
miles?
it's about 20 miles. I did put a thing out on Facebook the other day about people being able to use my garage. Did you see that? Mm-hmm. I didn't expect it to get 2,000 likes. I'm a little worried about that.
And it's after a long drive, too.
I know. Well, I'm cool with people working on their cars like while I'm sleeping or something.
Yeah.
But
But it being after the long drive, I'm thinking like, okay, Bradenton's the second stop. So hopefully if my car blows up, it's from, Orlando to Bradenton or like a little out of Bradenton back up to
it'd be
South
cool
Georgia.
to drive over the Skyway Bridge and stuff. I'm pretty
Yeah.
pumped for that.
If there's traffic, that's going to be a killer.
Well, it's Sunday night.
But if you have to stop on the Skyway going up
Oh,
with a trailer,
Yeah.
that's going to be a
It's illegal.
bad deal though.
No pulling over on Skyway.
But like, not even if you're in stop and go traffic and you have to
Oh my gosh, I
stop
didn't
and
even
get
think
your
about
car
that.
going again with a trailer,
Oh, man, that's terrible.
like that will be really hard on a transmission.
That will be.
You'll have to like brake boost it to get the car
So
going.
yeah, Skyway Bridge is a really steep bridge on route 2.
Yeah, it's like the tallest bridge in Florida,
So cruise ships can go under it.
and it's like straight up and straight back down.
Yeah, it is.
I've actually been with somebody, you're actually related to him, that attempted to jump it at the top. They had enough speed where they were thinking maybe I'll get a little,
I've heard a story about that.
and I was like, I don't think it's possible, and I don't
You
think we
guys doing
should try.
200 over it or close to it? You're like 180.
It was a lot. It was enough speed where you're like, maybe we will get air. And it
There's
was
too
a
much
pretty
downforce.
nice car,
There's too much downforce. You were fine.
especially in a 911 turbo.
It's ballsy.
It was a black one. It wasn't a white one.
Yeah. It's a car no one actually ever saw. I don't think
Yeah. There was two of them for a time there too.
there was.
Yeah, they were like identical competition.
Yeah.
So I actually wrote this down. Is it tough having somebody like Garrett in your shadow?
In my shadow, I'm in his shadow.
Yeah, but you're his older brother, so no matter what.
Dude, honestly, it's so fun. It's so cool. Like, I'm so proud as like an older brother. I mean, you couldn't be more proud for your sibling, right? I mean, it's the coolest thing ever. Who wouldn't want to be doing? He gets to wake up and do whatever he wants every single day. Granted, we all do, but it's really neat to see him build like an empire around it, and people that can live their lives around what he's doing as well. All the fan base. They're such cool people. Like, there's when you go to events, there's nobody fighting. Like, everyone's there to have fun, be happy, do what they love, and like, man, I mean, we always knew since like he was little, right? He was going to be like a talk show host, like Jay Leno or something like that, and he's done it.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. He loved the talk show stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that was what he wanted to do.
It is.
And
It is really cool, man.
It's definitely a different thing to get to entertain in this level that he gets to with like hundreds of thousands of dollars of budget to like do the crazy stuff.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, so I don't really it's not really tough. I've just, I couldn't be more excited. And there was like a moment that it hit me where, like when I was in dental school, you know, I lived away for 8 years for college and dental school. And so, you know, I knew he was kind of growing something. And then when I came back, there was a point where I was standing on the sidelines watching like everybody race and do burnouts. And I'm like, dang, either I can sit back and watch or I can be a part of this, you know? Mm-hmm. So I just started making videos, and it's kind of weird at first, you know, like how it goes when you probably first started making your videos. They're like, oh, Cooper's filming now.
Yeah, it's tough. You got to find your voice,
yeah,
but you're also kind of in like the eye already.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a weird transition, but you just got to go for it, you know? I mean, people will literally watch you do anything, you know, work on cars, talk about cars on a podcast, whatever, you know? You got to find your niche.
And that's what I'm trying to get with this. Like, I hope people that are listening right now are like listening and doing something.
Yeah.
Like, I hope people, like, I get like looking in every now and then, but like I hope people are like working on their car or like doing something like productive, at least like mowing their lawn or something, and listening.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to get visual attention now.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a lot to ask of someone's visual attention for 15
watch
minutes or even an hour. Like, even like get 30 seconds of somebody's visual attention right now. It's a lot. Mm-hmm. And it's harder than ever on the internet.
Especially the amount of content that's out there.
So much.
So much.
And that's like a tough thing to try to balance, because you don't want to put out something that doesn't deserve the visual attention. Mm-hmm. And especially like you're very into the filmmaking stuff, it seems like.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, Garrett and I if you go way back on his YouTube channel, there's videos of I think his very first videos are he and I ripping RC planes and boats and screwing around doing stuff like that. Yeah,
from when me and Garrett first started hanging out, it was mostly RC stuff. Like we were hanging out like in the front yard of the house I rented in college, and we were ripping RC cars, and then when we would travel to events, we would have like an RC plane.
Yep.
And then like a couple RC cars and stuff, but we never really posted much of it.
Yeah.
And I had the little Super Cub, and I was terrible at driving. The best. I was not great at flying it. I could get away with flying it.
Yeah, the little 3-channel deals.
I knew that there was a finite amount of time it was going to be in the air before I lost it.
Yeah.
Like I had that in my mind.
You know what I was doing before this? Garrett and I were driving remote control cars. Right before I came here.
Perfect. Yeah, we had the nitro ones that were just
that was such a pain in the butt. Oh my gosh, the worst.
And they sounded like a pile of bees.
Yeah, like, I'll never forget taking like the nitro and like pouring it over our skateboard rail and lighting it on fire and doing board slides over fire for nitro.
So the tough part about me is I race and drag race and do all this cool stuff, but I'm still not the cooler brother. My older brother.
Oh, you don't know.
My older brother.
So we're both the same.
My older brother is still doing cooler stuff. Like he'll spend like 8 months in Thailand surfing, just like completely disconnected from the entire world.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how can I go drag racing on the weekends and you're still doing cooler stuff?
Yeah. No, I mean yeah, but everyone looks at you like you're the cool guy, you know? I mean, he probably thinks the same about you, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I mean, I envy the ability to just go somewhere and kind of like disappear for 8 months, though. That sounds great.
I always laugh about it when like my phone or like a friend's phone breaks. I'm like, dang, that must be really nice.
Yeah.
Like, put it away for a bit.
Facebook, you know, like getting Facebook jail is a great thing.
Is it? Have you gotten it?
I've gotten it on accounts before, not like my main account, but like I've gotten it on like
the accounts that you comment on your own posts with.
Yeah, those ones. All those. I got like, I think like 60,000 followers on Facebook, and like 40,000 of them are me, and the other ones are my mom.
Like you're writing snappy comments back to yourself.
I gotta have the interaction. I feel like, you know, once you get it flowing, you get more interaction. You just gotta.
I know.
Push it yourself.
Yeah.
So, what is your next? What's your next thing for the next year then? Like,
my next move is I'm currently looking for a full-time photographer.
Photographer, like, you know, Dr. Tunamal has a good deal going.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's his cousin, so it works out good, you know. But as you know, filming content and editing takes so much time. Like, when we're working on our cars and all we want to do is work on it, you're like, you do a whole project. You're like, I probably should have filmed that, but I didn't because I just literally couldn't get what I needed to get done. You know.
Yeah.
And so I put an ad out at a local college, and I have a kid that we're gonna do a working interview with this week, and you know, I mean, I want him to be somebody that we can all use. Like, if you have a podcast and you need to snag him for an hour or two, then you call him up,
Yeah.
and you know, he's like still in school and graduating. He's super gung ho to get working. So
Yeah, that would be nice to have like an editor and videographer. It's tough to delegate anything, especially when you have a vision.
yeah, so tough.
Like that's going to be a tough thing because like even I think Garrett edits all of his own stuff.
He does, yeah.
And that's like a tough thing to let go of, and especially because somebody's not going to be as fast or efficient as you for a long time.
I know.
Like it's going to take.
I mean, even if I had the content, though, I mean, I wouldn't mind. I like editing, you know, it's fun for me, but you know, somebody to be there to film so that we don't have to.
That would be the nice
huge.
thing.
Oh
The
my God.
filming would be better, I think, for
Yes.
me personally, because editing, like you could always do that at midnight.
You need someone in
Like
your
that's
face.
something you could always do like late at night or like when you're just sitting there.
Yeah.
The filming like has to be done like right that moment.
You need someone there in your face with a camera when you don't want them in your face with a camera. 'Cause that's when the drama's there, you
Yeah.
know? Like, we don't film ourselves when we're, pissed off and bloody and, mad at our car throwing a wrench, but people want to see that stuff.
Yeah, and that's the frustration of cars.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
There's so much frustration that happens behind the scenes on cars.
I know it. There is. There
They
really
just
is.
really suck sometimes.
Especially waiting for parts.
Waiting for parts
That's
really
frustrating.
hurts. I know Tom was
Completely out of your
saying
hands.
like a lot of people were starting to bow out into the they're starting to pick wait listers now because people are starting to bow out because people can't get their parts.
Oh,
for 6
really?
weeks. Yeah.
That's
There's
really frustrating.
Big parts delays on everybody. And I was even talking to James about this once. I'm like, man, you can make a killing right now buying cars that have good parts on them and just parting them out. Because there's so many people that need stuff that they're just not making right now.
Yeah.
And even like, companies like Motion Raceworks still have their stuff, but they don't sell everything.
Yeah.
I waited a long time for my pistons, my rods on my engine. Thankfully, I still run like my car's like stock crank, stock block, stock head, stock valves.
Yeah.
Like,
What do you think of that Dart 2J block?
it'll be interesting to see. It's like $5,000 less than a billet block, like half the price.
Yeah.
It's still heavy though, but they changed a lot of things that'll make it nicer. If it ever comes to market, that it'll be great.
Yeah.
But who knows when it will come to market? I mean, everybody has predictions. Like Dart has predictions and stuff. Not saying it may never, but like, people wait on LS blocks from Dart
Yep.
and big blocks. People wait on everything,
They do.
so it's tough.
Oh, it comes down to getting those parts.
Yeah,
Dang, I can't believe people have to bow out because they can't get parts. That would really be frustrating.
yeah,
wouldn't it?
that would be a huge bummer. Like I get it, like finances get tight and stuff. Like maybe bow out for that reason, but like the parts stuff suck because Sick Week gets expensive for that too.
It does.
Hotels in every town or city.
Be prepared to spend 10 grand on sick week. 5 grand.
Yeah, I was gonna say 10 grand. Jesus, where are you staying? Ritz Carlton every stop.
Preparing fuel, food,
Everybody's
Having
like,
extra
all right,
money
guys,
on
we gotta wait
hand.
for Parker to come from the Ritz. Like,
extra money on hand, whatever.
yeah,
what
no,
is.
it adds up really quickly, and especially if you have like another guy that you kind of have to like, got to pay for stuff for them too, because if
Yeah.
you bring somebody with you, the assumption is you pay for a lot of that stuff
Oh yeah.
if they're helping you,
Right.
and they get all of the struggle without all of the fun
Mm-hmm.
of the pass.
Yes. Yes, they do.
But somebody like Zach is really good because he's so diehard to watching
Dude,
you
he's
win,
so into it. He's so good too. He's fine-tuned mechanic.
and he wants you to win really, really badly.
Yeah.
Like
he
some
does.
people are just like, screw it, make it to the next track maybe.
Right. Right.
Just, that's
We got
also
a good pass. We're like, no, we're here to win.
yeah. There's also a bliss to that mentality as well, where you're just like, we're just having fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
The mentality of having to win is it's a tough one sometimes.
It is. It is.
Because when me and Garrett first started, we went to a lot of events, and we had we didn't even plan to compete. We were just there, and we would hopefully make a pass. And half the time, like, the throttle body would shut because we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
50 feet out. Just like, it would just be a nothing pass.
Yeah.
It took so long for us to
Figure it out.
learn what was actually, like, was going to work.
Right.
But I envy that because somehow we're able to make interesting videos without even racing.
I know.
And I don't even know how that's possible right
People
now.
want to see stuff break. They do, you know?
Yeah, I don't even know how that's possible that we were able to film stuff and not be competing at the level we are now. Yeah, I can still see it. So, you also seem like you constantly travel and are constantly doing something else. What's your mentality on just loading your plate up with, like, more and more and more stuff?
Diamonds are made under pressure.
Okay, that's a good mentality.
Yeah.
I feel like that definitely, a lot of that came from your parents. Like, I know your dad pretty well, and it seems
Yeah.
like he's always got something interesting going on.
I was laughing about this with another dentist last weekend. Was the more on my plate, the more on her plate, the better. The better we do. It's when I don't have stuff going on. Like, I've been going stir crazy at home because my car's not there and I don't have anything to work on. You know, but the more that's going on, like, the next 2 weeks are going to be absolute mayhem. And, like, I know we're going to thrive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pumped.
That's tough, though, because, like, even, like, adding things that are kind of in the similar lane
Yeah.
is one thing. But, like, when things are in completely different lanes, like, you know, you're
Oh,
building your
dentistry.
dental practice, and then you're also building a racing program.
Yeah. I
Two
almost,
completely separate lanes.
I definitely started to get to the point where some parts get neglected, like responding to really important emails and stuff like that. And it kind of
Yeah.
drives me crazy, but you got to pick and choose your battles, you know?
I usually just choose to neglect the wife out of anything. Like,
I feel really bad for Caroline. She definitely gets neglected.
it's a
She
tough
definitely gets
balance because,
neglected.
like, you know, you look at it and you're like, she'll be there, she's fine.
She'll
like,
be there the rest of my life. This is I got to thrive right now.
and like as men, I feel like we kind of are just a very different mentality.
yeah,
We just have a different mentality. Like
100%.
we're
Yeah.
like, I'll go on the road for a month with like no hotel rooms booked or anything planned. And if she doesn't know like the next 2-hour
true.
schedule,
Oh, dude. They're like, what time are we doing that tomorrow? I'm like, I have no idea, but when we find out, we'll find out, and we'll adapt and overcome. It'll be just fine.
yeah, she's like, I'll tell her like, oh, I'm filming a podcast tomorrow. It's like midnight.
Yeah,
It's like,
I know.
why didn't you tell me? I'm like,
I don't know.
I don't know. Why doesn't matter?
Well, who were they with? What did they have to eat beforehand?
Yeah.
They're like, why would I don't know.
Just wing it, and hopefully it
gonna be
comes
there?
together as you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a different mentality, and you kind of have to be like that. Because if you're not adapting to the circumstances that hit you
100%.
instantly, it's going
Yeah.
to be a really bad time.
Yeah, but back to your question, man, I definitely have a lot on my plate. I travel a ton. I'm trying to stop traveling so much. It's really taking
Weren't
so
you
long on
just
me.
gone like 2 weeks ago
I was in New Orleans last weekend.
and then you were just with Heavy D?
Yeah, the weekend before that. Yeah, but the heavy D trip, I didn't know until 2 days before that I was going, you know? So
That's fair. Yeah, it doesn't even count.
The New Orleans trip I had planned for a long time, but that was, you know, for a dental thing, and that was important. So,
Yeah, that's tough in itself too, because there's only 52 weekends a year,
Yeah.
and when you do things like burnout stuff, drag racing, dental stuff, they will overlap,
We do,
and
for sure.
some things have
The
to
worst
take.
is when I'm sitting in a lecture hall for a dental meeting for 3 days straight, listening to lectures, when I know I could be getting a lot done.
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah, that's
But
really.
I
tough.
learn a lot, so it's worth it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't realize that is like, I read like a doctor's degree after like 150 days, like the information is already like at its half-life,
Yeah.
and
I can
after
see
like
that.
6 months, like it's already like only 20% of the knowledge is still the same
Yeah.
because like things are evolving so
I've learned
fast.
definitely more outside of school. I mean, the school teaches you the basics, you know?
Yeah,
And then when you get out, you kind of find your niche and run in that, and you take continued education, you know, which is costs a lot of money.
yeah,
So.
I'm sure it does. Do you have plans to grow your dental practice more? Because like
Yeah, I'm actually looking to buy another practice, so so that I can have. Basically, there's a lot of corporate dental offices out there, you know, and these kids go and work for these corporate dental offices and just kind of get bent over, and they're just running the mill, you know. They they don't mean anything to anybody. They're
Yeah.
just a worker. And I want to give people an opportunity to have ownership, you know. So like if I go and buy the practice, help them build it, sell it to them, you know, at a predetermined cost, and you know, just like help people. That's what I really want. So I've got people graduating this May that need opportunities, and I feel like I need to bring those home.
So you're more in like the franchise, mindset where you're opening more dental practices, because then there's the other option where you can kind of vertically build your business where you're owning like the imaging stuff and like, right? Like you probably have to outsource some stuff like that, right? Do you do all like, because like, you know, implants and like you get those made by somebody, right?
Yeah. I'm not gonna make my own brands and stuff like that.
That's what I was wondering, like, because you can kind of go either way. You can do more practices, or you can take everything in-house that you can.
Yeah, I'm really lucky that I can provide a service to my patients that I really care about, that means something to them, that's concierge, and I want to be able to help other dentists do the same thing. You know, do it the right way, not be a revolving door in a sense, you know.
And you get to donate, which is the coolest part.
Oh, dude, so cool.
Because you've donated a lot of money already.
$100,000 in the past 2 years to local charities.
That's big money to
That could be money
to
in
donate.
my pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, what do? You give $100?
Yeah. So basically, like, if you wanted to come see me, right?
Which I probably should.
Come on in. Bronzy did.
Yeah, I know. She's
Oh,
a
wait,
lot.
that's against
She's
HIPAA.
a lot smarter than me.
So it's $100, right? And that $100 goes to one of 5 or 6 local charities. One of them being like Bubba's Buddies, you know, Doug and
Yeah,
Molly
Doug
Cook's
Cook, yep.
charity for their dog, Bubba. And you know, so if the patient chooses Bubba's Buddies, that $100 goes to them. And then when they pursue treatment with me, I match that $100. So it's a good way to give back, and it also takes the edge off the new patient appointment, you know, because they're not paying me for me to tell them what's wrong with them, you know. There's a lot of doctors where it's like $300-400 for them to take an X-ray, and then for the dentist to sit there and be like, "Oh yeah, you need a root canal." You're like, "Oh great, I just spent $300 for this guy to tell me I need a root canal. Sick. Now I gotta buy the root canal." And so yeah, I've literally raised $100,000 in the past years.
Yeah, that's wild, man. That's
So cool.
super awesome.
When I could have pocketed that, but you know, people are like, "Oh yeah, big tax break, blah blah blah." No, it's not about the taxes or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, you
it's-
already do tax avoidance stuff anyways. I mean, we're already all avoiding that stuff as much as possible.
There's tax deductible expenses outside of charitable donations that mean a lot more, you know, that you can play. So,
But those charities actually get that money, so whether
they're
you
local.
get tax deductions or not, those
Okay.
charities have that money.
Yeah,
Like, it doesn't
okay.
even matter. Like, in the end of the day,
yeah,
they
the
have
charity
that
has the
100,000.
money and they can do something cool with it, and it's all local too. So I only mailed the checks to the local, you know, charities like Big Brothers Big Sisters. All Children's Hospital is probably All Children's is probably my number one option picked. You know, they've gotten like $30,000 from my office.
Oh,
in
wow.
the last 2 years. So
Yeah, that's definitely a top tier one. I know me and Bronte in 2020 did a charity where we raised a bunch of money for.
oh yeah, you already did all the food stuff, right?
Yeah, we gave $30,000 worth of spaghetti.
spaghetti.
I had
How
never.
much was it?
It was $30,000
What?
worth of pasta, and I literally
Holy
bought pasta and brought it
crap.
to the food pantry.
$30,000 worth.
It was a lot of pasta.
Oh my god, I didn't know it was that much.
Yeah,
That's insane.
I want to do something similar again, where, you know, like I'd like to do like an actual spaghetti cart, and go to places where like hand out spaghetti.
Oh,
like
do like a food truck?
yeah, like an actual like, you know, crowd-funded food truck that's just giving out free spaghetti to people in
That'd be
need.
so cool.
And I feel like it's like one of the cheapest like forms of calories you can give to somebody.
Spaghetti for sure.
On the
You
road.
gotta do it.
Just do like a crowd-funded food truck.
Yes, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah,
or
that
do
would
it
be
at
a
the
fun
race
one.
week events. Because everyone wants to eat hot spaghetti at the racetrack.
Get your milk and hot spaghetti.
Garlic bread.
I actually one of the like last year I was kind of close to buying a hot dog truck that like
Yeah.
a one that pulls like a trailer, like a hot dog trailer
Yes.
to trailer it around with the Mustang. Because like how funny would that be instead of like everybody has their tools and stuff.
That ice cream truck with the hot dog grill up front.
I know, it's my main competition.
Where you don't give your hot dogs away, you pay people to take them.
Listen, I grew up in a hot dog business. I know hot dogs.
Do you?
Yeah, my grandpa had a hot dog wagon on the
he
beach
really?
growing up my whole life.
No way.
And he was retired NYPD,
Yeah.
opened a hot dog wagon. It was like the
Dang,
most
the
cliche Italian thing to do ever.
You probably loved it though.
Loved it. And he used to always give like all the neighborhood dogs hot dogs, and I'm like, you can't just do that.
Dog might give him a hot dog.
Like seagulls and stuff. Like you can't just give a seagull a full hot dog. Like they would literally be like choking, trying to like eat this thing. Yeah, like just dying.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, it was always a good time.
How did you guys raise money for that Bogetti spaghetti?
We did it all on GoFundMe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
How'd that work out? How do they make their money?
They take like a very small percentage, not like a huge amount, but I would definitely do it through like my own website if I did it again. I just felt I wasn't personally established enough to be trusted at the time.
Got it.
Like, yes and no. Like people kind of trust going to GoFundMe a little bit more than like maybe going to my website.
Yeah, like paying on Square or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I would just do like a T-shirt or something and sell it for like $50.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, and like make the money that way.
Yeah.
Give somebody something, make the profit back, and then put all the money into it, because that would be cool too.
Yeah. What's your plan for the next year? What are you up to? This?
A lot of racing. I want to try to do this as much as possible, because I think this can actually bring something more to the car community
Definitely. Somebody needed to do it.
than my racing. Yeah, I feel that there's so many people that don't get to talk for long periods of time and like long form stuff.
Yeah.
And I hope that this can keep growing over the next year, and then my main channel videos can be less like BS and more racing.
You know what you should do? You should have a car on jack stands in here and time someone how long it takes them to change out 4 wheels and tires, and then have a leaderboard.
Oh, my wheels are gonna be stripped out.
It's all right. Just do it on one of your cars.
I could just like
Sit
do like
in
the
the weeds.
TBM setup. Like have
Yeah.
like the yeah, the loud ass thing. Well, this is on Spotify, so a lot of people aren't even seeing us.
Yeah.
Like a good majority of the people that watch this are literally not watching us right
Right,
now.
right.
And I imagine most of them a lot of them on YouTube probably just have it in their pocket too.
Yep.
So I'm trying to stay away from as visual as possible. Like I have the TV, people are like pull up clips, but that's a whole thing in
I didn't even
itself.
see that. Dang, that's pretty cool.
That's a whole
How
thing
did
in
you get on all
itself.
those? Did you have to pay? Did you pay like a company to do it all for you or something?
It's
or?
like $20 a month. You upload it to like Buzzsprout, and then they just distribute it to all of them
sweet.
instantly. Yeah, so it's like nothing to just
Nice.
be instantly on everything.
Yeah.
And uploading audio only is great, because when you download a video, it's like 16 gigabytes on your computer. An audio file is like 100 megabytes.
Oh, that's not bad.
Nothing is so great.
Yeah.
My computer thanks me for that.
Yeah, you gotta have those external hard drives for sure.
They definitely get brutal. They get wrecked.
You got this table pretty sturdy. So, it's just the.
It's on 2 sawhorses.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, you don't even see it in the camera.
Yeah, I think the whole podcast thing you're doing is really cool. I think you should run with that. I mean, you're so close to the track. You can get so many people coming through here.
Just try to crush it on this stuff. That's what
For sure.
my long-term goal will be, probably for the next couple months here, and the next year will be to try to hit this as hard as possible.
I mean, how long have you been doing it? 2 months?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
already like almost 20K subscribers and
Dude,
good amount of views.
anybody dreams of having 20K subscribers in
I
a
know.
year.
And thankfully I've been looking at used podcast equipment too. There's a lot of people that sell that stuff used.
They're just sitting there.
Think about how many people start one,
Dude,
buy all the
seriously,
equipment.
I didn't even think about that. That's such a good idea.
There's so much available.
See you on eBay.
I know, exactly.
We've been against each other.
You're also getting your license to pilot, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have been going through that. How? I guess that's put more things on your plate.
Yeah, oh yeah, more the better.
That
Bring
sounds
it
like a
on.
really reasonably priced one to do.
That's very expensive.
Spencer just got his. He was telling me
No,
about
he
it.
doesn't have it yet. He's getting close.
He really made it sound like he had it.
Yeah, he's been flying way more than I have recently. I've stopped over the past year. I'm like 6 hours away from getting my private pilot's license for a helicopter. And hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Really?
Yeah, it's very difficult physically. you know?
Physically?
Yeah.
Not mentally difficult, like physically?
I mean, when you haven't flown for a while and you fly, you leave exhausted. You know, it's a dance. Like you're at 3 different controls. You're on the radio. You know, you're watching the weather. You're doing all these kinds of things. And as a new pilot, I understand that it's more difficult, but I have like 6 solo hours left, and I just don't like flying alone. Like I want to be flying around with my buddies, or you know, stuff like that, or an instructor, because I get more out of it that way. But it is a hill that everyone has to cross because you have to go out and do it on your own, and that's why they make you do it, you know, because it's a learning experience, and you just got to do it. And I got to crank them out. I have an opportunity to finish it. You know, Spencer and I leased a helicopter for a year, so.
Oh, is that who? You know, he said he leased one with someone. I don't know why he never mentioned that you were the one that.
Yeah, he and I and one other guy are in on the deal.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a good deal to just lease one then.
Yeah, it is, just to crank out the hours. So.
And then once you have yours, can you just kind of go
And do whatever I want.
whatever at that point? Yeah, I've realized the laws for flying a helicopter are extremely loose. It seems
Dude,
like
you could fly. I'm surprised people aren't flying under Skyway. I want to fly under Skyway Bridge.
that sounds really reckless.
It's not illegal.
It's
Somebody's got to start it, though.
It's definitely frowned upon.
Definitely frowned upon. But people fly under the Golden Gate Bridge all the time. Like tour helicopters.
That's probably frowned upon, no?
No, they do it all the time.
Well, isn't the Golden Gate Bridge a lot higher?
Yes, I believe it is a lot.
Yeah, like Skyway goes high, but the Golden Gate Bridge is just really tall in itself.
Yeah. I don't want to do dangerous stuff like that. I just like the ideas in my head, you know, just, oh man.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta kind of
pioneer to do that. But
I'm sure it's in everybody's head that flies by the Skyway.
I know.
Like, oh, I'd really like to thread that needle.
Yeah, but it's cool because people around us have been getting into helicopters, and it's, like I said, the hardest thing I've done. It's been something cool for my brain to like learn. Like I love learning. You know, I learned about dentistry for a while, and then I learned about building a race car, and then I learned about flying, and now I'm learning more about running a business, and you know, it's constantly, I just love to learn. So yeah, the flying thing's been cool. I should be able to finish up my license within the next 2 months or so.
Oh, that'd be awesome. So then you could just like, I wonder if you could land at my house. I think there's
It's
almost
pretty
enough
tight back
room.
here.
Yeah,
You could probably land in your front yard.
I'm sure the neighborhood would be all over the place. Is there any
Yeah.
rules in your neighborhood against that? Is there any
I
helicopter
did
rules?
text the homeowner or the president of the HOA, and I said, "Hey man, is there anywhere I can land a helicopter in the neighborhood?" Just like messing with him,
Just like spray paint like an H somewhere, just like randomly
just
in
to
the grass.
like, you know, make him roll his eyes. And he actually responded like, "Oh yeah, I think we actually could over by the power lines." So I'm like, okay, helicopters and power lines don't get along very well, so we're not going to land there.
Yeah, the first time I was ever in a helicopter was in the middle of the Freedom Factory,
Yeah.
and the guy like was pretty nervous about clearing the poles,
Yeah.
and there was like a debate. It was an interesting story. It was when
Like,
we
do
were
you
filming
think
when we were filming that intro video.
Yeah.
And James was about to get in, and the guy was like, "Oh, how much do you weigh?" And James was like, "I don't know, like 180, 190." And he's like, "Is it 180 or 190?"
You're like that. We're that close.
I was like, "Yeah, like that's the margin of error right there is 10 pounds."
In like a Lighter Robinson, it is. Yeah.
That's what it was. It was that orange one.
Yeah. We call that one Orange Crush. Right?
Yeah, I figured you would know, and I think
I've flown the helicopter.
yeah, I figured, and then and we get above the line, like the poles, and he was like, "Yeah, we wouldn't have made it if James got in."
James. Really?
like-
Jesus.
I was like, "Oh, awesome, dude."
Yeah, there's a lot more power for helicopters out there that don't really have those issues.
Well, Robinsons are known as their questionable ones, right?
Power wise, yeah, you know, there's like an app you put in how much fuel you have, weight of each passenger and luggage, and then it'll tell you, yeah, you're right in the line, or no, you're good to go.
Aren't they known as like one of the more dangerous ones, though?
I think they're known as more dangerous because so many people fly them and they're very entry level, you know? So it's kind of like saying, you know, more Hondas get in accident or Toyota Camrys get in accidents than any other car because there's that many of them out there, you know? And like
And they're
inexperienced pilots are
cheaper,
flying 'em.
so
They're
you can
cheaper.
get into them easier.
And you can get into them easier, and they're cheaper, and you know they're very entry level. You know, so there's a lot of people out there flying them that probably shouldn't be flying. You know.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's the whole thing about like flying cars. Is like I don't want more people flying over my head.
Definitely not.
I have a lot of like planes and helicopters fly over my head here.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is like a route, I guess.
Yeah, it's been really interesting learning about it. 'Cause so many people, when I tell people like, "Oh, I fly helicopters," they're like, "What? Isn't that really dangerous?" And the more you learn about it, the more safe they actually are. You know, like people think, oh, if a helicopter's engine dies, you're going down. No,
Yeah,
you
that's
can
a funny myth.
you can glide a helicopter like a plane down to the ground.
Yeah, people don't realize that you tilt the props and you can,
Yeah,
or
it's
the, whatever you call it.
yeah,
Yeah,
the rotor blades.
The rotor.
So basically, you can literally, if you're cruising along and the helicopter's engine quits, you can glide it down. I mean, your glide slope is a lot steeper than an airplane. You know, when you're up there, you're like, oh, we're gonna go right there. Airplane, you're like, we can go over there. But you practice that maneuver. It's called an auto rotation, over and over and over and over.
Yeah, because I guess that's probably your do or die situation there.
It is.
You know, like once the engine's off, that's where that's where the experienced pilot comes in.
Yeah, and you can keep it straight too, because you have forward airspeed and there's a rudder in the back, right? So the vertical stabilizer keeps you straight if you have enough forward airspeed.
I like what Whistle and Diesel did with his recently.
Oh my god, that was so funny. That was hilarious.
I
Did you
love
watch
how
that
he-
video?
yeah.
Holy crap.
I love when he pisses off the aviation community.
Oh, they get so fired
Because those
up.
guys are like, especially like the small single prop airplane guys, I feel like
Yes.
are super like macho, like flying guys, like
Yeah.
all meet up in that. There's that one like meeting spot that they do every year where like 10,000 of them fly in. Like it seems like such an interesting community of like.
There's Sun and Fun. It happens in Orlando right here. Big deal. Big deal.
There's
Coming up.
there's even the neighborhoods that are pretty cool in Florida that have
Yeah.
like
Aviation
airport
communities?
Yeah,
I know.
that would be really cool to live in.
It would be. You
Something-
basically have a hangar in your backyard and you're on the runway.
that HOA probably doesn't care about much.
No. I'm not worried about noise there.
No,
There's
even
one in Venice. There's one out east here. Yeah.
Well, we used to go to this race up at Jumbo Air up in Ocala, and there was houses all across this little airport, but it was like John Travolta would land like a 737 there. Like it was a big airport, but there was like mega mansions on it.
Yep.
And there was all these like crazy things about John Travolta living there, and like
Just being a cowboy out there.
well, he had a hangar that he could park his plane in,
Yeah.
and it was a 737. It was like a big hangar, and they were like, why? Like
Why would you build
they
that
would
here?
pull it in, close it, then people would get out, type of thing.
Oh.
That was what was always weird.
That's why he did it like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird deal.
Yeah, flying's really cool. It's very expensive, like you said. You know, to get your helicopter license, you're spending 20, 30 grand
Yeah, so you got to like buy a side by side basically to
just to learn.
just to learn. Yeah, and then
And then you have to fly I think it's every 90 days. You have to do 3 takeoffs and 3 landings, day and night, if you want to continue flying day and night with passengers.
yeah.
and everything.
So I guess
all
the
that.
side by side stuff is cool on its own too, because you got one of those. But how?
I sold it.
Oh, you did sell it?
I did.
Did you not use it enough?
Dude, we used it twice a year. It was crazy. It's a lot of money tied
It's
up.
tough. It's like a boat where you have to like really like, all right, I'm gonna use it, then I clean it, then I like
away.
get it ready. Like you have to.
They're so fun though.
They're the best. Well, it's like a boat. Like the same thing.
Yeah.
They're great when you use them,
Oh,
but
the
then like
best.
the in between using them is painful, and
Yeah,
you're
it's
just
like
like,
having a storage unit. Like it's mental baggage when
Yeah.
you're not using it, you know?
yeah, that definitely is unfortunate. And unless you have like a diehard group that goes side by siding every weekend,
I
and
know.
everybody that we know has too much other stuff going on to go even twice a year
I know.
is tough.
It is, and you got to drive an hour and a half each way, and you know it'd be one thing. Like if I lived on 20 acres, oh, I'd have one for getting the mail every day,
Yeah.
you know. But other than that, it's tough when you live in a HOA neighborhood and you can't make them street legal in Florida. So
Especially that price point that they are now. Even
Oh,
some
yeah.
of them are like 45 grand.
yeah,
like
if
the
they're
new
really bad, the
freaking.
Pro R Razors, the 4-seaters.
That's insane. That's like a car. Well, you are a doctor, so do you plan to get any supercars? Get like a
God,
red
no.
Ferrari.
Oh,
You roll up with your 458 with the top
absolutely
down.
not. Definitely not. I'd rather roll up to my office in Dr. Pepper and set that thing out there, spitting fuel and chopping up the block. At the
Maybe
light.
it'll start at the end of the day.
Maybe hopefully it'll start when I want to leave the office.
Yeah, that's the most fun part about a car that's
yeah.
modified. But I feel like a normal, Florida doctor, you got to get some kind of like Ferrari with a tan
Definitely
interior.
not gonna happen ever.
No,
not gonna happen.
No desire for anything like
I
that.
like a Corvette or something.
Yeah,
Let's
like
see,
a
or nice
911
CCSV.
turbo.
Yeah, Garrett and my dad were really trying to get me to buy a turbo, but I'm like, dude, this just isn't me.
They're
Like,
so good though, but
they're
like
so good, but I could feel like I would get bored of it pretty quickly.
that's the problem. I mean, even my CTSV, I get like it sits around so much.
It does.
Like it just doesn't get used enough. And the only times I do ever use it is when like there's a reason. Like I actually like somebody told me, "Hey, you need to come out and do this." It's like, "Okay, then I'll use it."
Right.
But like I don't just go drive it because I don't really trust many drivers around me.
Yeah.
Is also part of the problem.
Right.
Prefer to be in my truck where I'm a little safer.
I hear you there. I love driving a truck. Best thing ever.
Yeah. I mean, you grew up in country.
Nebraska.
Yeah. I've been out there a couple times, and it's
Yeah, you did.
a lot of nothing out there.
It is. Great place to grow up, though. Hard to get in trouble. We still
Yeah.
found it, but,
That would make sense. So I have a interesting story to close off. Why I introduced you as a dirtbag. So one time, me and Garrett were out in Arizona, hanging out with Cheyenne, and Parker was living out there at the time. And he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna come hang out." And we're hanging out with Cheyenne. He's got his Viper out there, and the next day, me and Garrett were getting up early to drive back to Tampa from Arizona. And this man, Parker, sneaks into our room when we're not there and hides all of the towels from the bathroom. So we get up the next morning. We get up the next morning to drive 26 hours or 30 hours back.
All the towels are gone.
And there's not a single towel. Nothing. Nothing.
I totally forgot about that. That's so funny.
I'm pretty sure Garrett took the route of showering and then just laying in the bed, like going under the covers. And I don't know what route I took. I may have used toilet paper.
That is so funny.
And then, like, after
toilet paper to dry up after a shower.
after we like, just get all done and stuff, we get a text and it's like, "Hey, did you find the towels under the bed?" And we look under the bed and we're just like, "God damn it. I hate this guy."
That is a really funny story. I totally forgot about that.
Oh, it was brutal, man. It was a tough day.
As you know, the shenanigans never end.
No, I mean, I've definitely that's why when like the video of George just like, "Yeah, change your oil," I'm like, "Yeah, get that fucking dirt bag." I didn't feel bad for you one bit. I was like, this man.
George and I have kind of battled it out. It's pretty funny. One night on race week, like you're so tired, you're ready to go to bed, and he's getting back from Taco Bell, and he is like got his Baja Blast and all his tacos, and I remember total dirtbag move. I slapped his Baja Blast out of his hand. It was like he was gonna cry. And then the next day we ate at Runza, which is really important to us.
Yeah,
Nebraskans.
I ate there one time
It's like
and it
a
was
rocket
meh.
slam my Runza. Just...
I ate there one time and it was okay.
No.
At best.
Don't listen to him. It's great.
It was okay at best. The one time I was in Nebraska, we went out to dinner and I was sexually harassed by this dude waiter. It was crazy.
Yeah.
We were with Garrett and his friend's name is lost on me there. But I was sexually harassed by some waiter at this Chinese restaurant. It was a bad deal. I was like, I'm never coming back to this place. Because we would go there for just I-29. We'd go there for the ice cream cruise. Yeah, which is one of the best events ever.
Is it?
I would love to go back, but it's just too much of a
haul.
trek to go there for like.
Freaking haul.
It'd be cool if they kind of placed it around Rocky Mountain Race Week so that you can kind of hit it on the way back or the way there.
Yeah.
But even Rocky Mountain Race Week is a haul.
It is.
If I was to drive my car out there, like just trailer it out there, I'm like losing like a month of time.
Oh my gosh.
It's
a haul.
And the first time we went out there, the transporter truck caught on fire.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Jamie had to like drive through the night to get the setup, and we're all just kind of like sitting there waiting for the cars to show up. The guy's like, "Yeah, it's on fire," and it's like,
"Unhook the trailer.
You gonna get it to me?" I was like, "It's cooked, dude." I was like, "You gonna complete the job?" Like,
you know, make it happen for us.
Yeah,
Or we
like,
gotta figure this out.
well, this was a fun deal. We'll have to do another one, man. Thank you guys for watching. Wait, where can they find you?
At Parker Mitchell on Instagram and Teeth and Turbos on YouTube.
Teeth and Turbos, Parker Mitchell, his profile pictures of dog.
Yeah, always has been. OG picture from when I started my Instagram.
Yeah, always been a dog. Well, thanks for coming on, man. That'll do it. I'll see you guys next time.
Later.